Oh, helps if I'm not muted. Here we go. Hey, everyone. We're back with a new episode of Crumbling Foundation. Gone 2 weeks, I believe, but we're back now and very excited to bring you more of this amazing game. Before we do, a couple things I'd like to go over. First, March 24th through the 26th, we're going to be running Days of Tales 2, a charity weekend raising money for NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. It's going to be a really great event, 36 hours of games, panels, giveaways, and more. And this week over on Twitter, we're going to be doing a lot of the announcements for our giveaways. And near the end of the week, maybe start talking about some of the games that we're going to have coming up. Also, if you're interested in being a part of that, you can join us anytime throughout that weekend over in the chat. We're going to have a bunch of games that are going to have different donation tiers and incentives. So if you're interested in getting in on that, helping the players, hindering the players, either or really works. Any is fine. You can do that by joining us in the chat and making a donation. Any level of donation whatsoever will also enter you into all of our giveaways. We're going to have some amazing stuff. Like I said, we'll talk about that later in the week. A good way to keep up with our announcements, other than our Twitter at TheLionKnight42, is our Discord, because we have one of those. You can find the link down below. If you click it, it'll bring you over to our Discord, which is a fantastic community filled with some absolutely amazing people. Everyone involved on the show is there, along with everyone from all of our other shows, and some absolutely amazing people who we don't have on screen but still love deeply. There's some fantastic creative minds, wonderful game designers, and just really friendly people. So come hang out, talk about stuff, share pictures of your pets. We like doing that. Talk about random things because they will probably become a game we run at some point. That's just kind of how it works now, I guess. It's great. Come hang out. We have a YouTube. If you're interested in seeing any of our archived episodes of any show that we run, you can do that over on our YouTube. For our series, for our one-shots and everything else, that's the place to go. Link should also be down below. If you'd like to support us, there are a couple ways you can do so. Obviously, you can subscribe here, or even just following makes a really big difference. But also, if you don't want to give Amazon any of your money, we have a Ko-Fi. Ko-Fi should also be linked down below. And on it, there are a bunch of different membership tiers with a bunch of different cool rewards and opportunities for you if you do. You also get access to our behind-the-scenes talkback shows that we do once a month for each of our series, where we sit down with all of our cast to talk about what's been going on, why they're doing the things they're doing, and everything else. Last but not least, you know what? No, I think that was it. I think we've hit everything. I'm a little bit tired tonight, as you may notice, so my spiel is a little bit off. We're going to take half a second so we can get Tal seated and be ready to go. Give us 1 second as we get this set up. Everyone might just break for a second. Don't panic. I promise it's going to be fine. Actually, you know what? We're going to be right back. Hey, Fred.
I definitely remembered that all of your hours changed and that ours doesn't for another couple of weeks.
We figured that was what happened.
We were like, this isn't like Tal.
Well, the time's loud.
Good to have you here.
Yes.
We missed you.
I'm here.
We're gonna update these in real time. Why not? Let's go.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
This is how the pudding is made, everyone.
Yeah, you're getting behind the scenes.
Live demonstration.
Yeah. When one player has got no idea what's going on.
We're making it work.
Yeah, it's good.
Yep. Stick with us, chat, as we...
It's all my fault.
No, we love you, Tal.
Tal, can you do me a big favor? Take those dragons off your back end before
yes, absolutely.
Before the lion decides that that's a good idea for us to start dealing with.
Oh yeah, good call, the eye.
You're a fool for thinking it didn't enter my mind the moment I saw that.
Dang.
Yes, I'll go for. There we go. I'll go to my normal. There we go.
Well, while we're doing this, I think I'll just spend some of my points, give people exertions. I love you all.
Ah, I set up my laptop. I was like, oh, I've got like 15 minutes. I could just close my eyes for 15 minutes. It's like, why am I getting messages? No.
It is like that. For some reason, we are just hell bent on rolling back those clocks.
Yep.
Getting to see the whole process, everyone. You're getting to look behind the screen, behind the curtain, as it were. There we go. We made it.
Thanks, Zoe. I appreciate
You're welcome.
your faith in me.
I'm about to do something stupid, so I need the help. Please
Excellent.
rescue me.
So much.
Just in time.
All of the time nonsense. All right, well, we got everyone now. We're here. We're ready. Everyone's in the right boxes. We've gone through the spiel. So, real quick, I'm going to throw it around so that everyone can introduce themselves and tell us why they're amazing. Let's start with JD.
Oh God. Okay. All right. It's fine. Hi, I'm JD. I am playing Dr. Zachary Ryan in this game. He is not having any issues whatsoever with things that have come to light in the past 24 hours. It's fine. Those are my favorite words. You can also find me with Live from the Apocalypse. I am there a few times every week, give or take. And I will actually be GMing a game coming up at the end of this month, a Regency Monster Hearts game called A Season of Secrets and Shadows. 8 players across 2 tables for 8 weeks because I love to suffer. And then there's some secrets that I can't quite announce yet. But yeah, glad to be back.
Hey. Jack.
Yes, hello. That is me. I'm Jack. I am here. I am playing Hevard Hart, everybody's new best friend. Let's see, what else do I do? You can find me on my own channel, RPGs Uncovered. That's on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, all over the place. I've been lucky enough to be able to lock that name in everywhere. I run a channel dedicated to showing just how quick and easy it can be to learn a new TTRPG. And currently, we are at the series finale for season 4 of that show, RPGs Uncovered, in which we've been exploring Cyber Rats. It's a Lumen-based game. It's real combat heavy, but it's super fun combat. It's fast combat. It's cinematic combat. All kinds of fun combos, and we have an amazing cast. So even though it's the last episode, it's not a bad time to jump in if you just want to see some absolute craziness, because it is going to go down this week, and it's going to be super fun. I also have my Whip Workshop creator interview series every Wednesday. This week it's pushed back a little bit. It won't be until 10 p.m. EST, but I will be interviewing Michael Lowe, who is the creator of Luna Uni, a new upcoming game focused on helping teach younger students various subjects, as well as useful storytelling, writing, and interpersonal skills. So I'm really excited to talk about that. And I'm really excited for our date with this Flesh City tonight. So let me pass it on over to Tal.
Hello, I'm Tal. I'm late. So you can check me out over on the social medias under the Gamers Rest. So at the moment, it's episode 3 of House of Ashes on my YouTube channel, which is me making poor decisions, which is always fun. And you can check out my itch.io page, which is the Gamers Rest. And on there, I've got a few bits of TTRPGs which I've designed. And I'm currently working on a new project, which hopefully I'll be playtesting in the not too distant future, which I'm very excited about. And that is, and I'm playing Dr. Jackson Kennedy, who is in some trouble, I believe. And that's me, all done.
All right, and the Eye.
I am the Eye. I'm the one that makes all the good decisions in this party. And everyone should always listen to Liam MacCern because he is always right. He's kind of like Yvonne. What was her name in Babylon 5? Ivanka?
Ivanova.
Ivanova.
Yeah,
Ivanova is always right.
Great choice.
Liam MacCern is the same way, and we will continually find that to be the case. as we progress.
And Zoe.
Me. Hello, everyone. I'm Zoe, or Zoe Trooper. I am playing Zura Von Brandt tonight, who has just witnessed the perfect DNA structure for a creature, not unlike ourselves, and doesn't know exactly how to process that information. Probably having a little bit of a breakdown about it. Went to her SCP friend for advice, which not great advice, that one, but let's see where those shenanigans bring us. You can find me on Twitter as @ZoeTrooper. You can also find me here on Tales from the Table Studios. Fanfare. And yeah, you can find me on other places like Hollow Haven Studios and Component Cast as well.
This is my best Kermit the Frog impression.
Perfect. I was convinced. I actually saw Kermit.
It's not easy being green. So before we get started tonight, one last thing I want to go over is the Crumbling Foundation is a horror game. As such, there are a lot of things worth being aware of before you come into it. Crumbling Foundation will include religious iconography, atmospheric horror, body horror, self-mutilation, and potential gaslighting. If at any time you find yourself feeling uncomfortable or unsafe for any reason, please walk away, turn it off. Don't feel like you are expected, forced, or demanded to be here. Your health comes first at all times, every time. Promise we won't be upset by it. We've got plenty of other shows if you want to check out some of our other stuff. And that's okay if not, too. Always put yourself first. Take care of yourself. With that, let's get to tonight's episode of Crumbling Foundation. Ooh, I'm excited to say that. So, when we last left off, Zura, I believe the last thing that we had seen was you watching as your strange SCP friend motions moving towards the city ahead of you, the giant fleshy metropolis. And as our camera pulls back in, what is it that we find you doing?
Like I said, I've been rattled to my core at this point. That was not what I expected to find today or ever, really. And I think the way I explained it is you've witnessed a pure form of art and nothing else ever compares to it anymore. So I'm struggling to deal with that consequence. And when Malos heads off into the city without giving me any of the answers that I seek, other than just pointing a skeletal finger, I gotta know. And I start frantically packing. I'm not looking at the others. I'm just grabbing a backpack, grabbing my stuff, and I start heading off in the direction of the city with a flashlight out.
Well, I would assume, unless there is a reason not to, everyone else would probably notice.
Oh God, no! Oh God, yes. I'm not being stealthy. I'm not. It's yeah, just like no one will see me. No, I'm being very like overt about it. Like I am definitely making noise, and gathering as much as I can.
The rest of you.
I'm guessing that I would probably be the last to notice, as I would probably be standing on the ridge of this hill we're on, looking outwards rather than inwards.
Yeah, you're covering the woods, right?
Yeah, I'm trying just to keep an eye out for any movement coming towards us, not what's going on behind me in camp.
Right.
I think in that case, Zach might be one of the first ones to notice what's going on. And I think it would depend on how quickly Zura is packing, whether he would go like to her tent and check in there, or whether he would like catch her as she was heading out.
I want to say it's more likely you'll catch her because she has to catch up with Malos. So.
And so Zach would just kind of step up and be like, Zura, what's going on? Where are you going?
I'm following SCP-1471 because there's something that we're not getting. We're not understanding it. And I know the answers are in that city, and I can't wait. And you can tell that this is like borderline. Like this is a manic episode. Like she is quite upset right now.
Okay. We're here to find knowledge. Yeah, you're right. But you shouldn't be going alone. We should all be going with you. We've already lost Jackson. We can't have you going off by yourself too.
Yeah. And I'll look back out. Can I see SCP-1471 still heading into the city or waiting for me?
You looking back out, you can make out this like faint shadowy outline that you very quickly recognize. You've seen this silhouette so many times in photos and out of the corner of your eye, and they just kind of stand there for a moment, clearly looking at you, and then they turn and continue walking towards the city.
I will take Zach's hand, if he allows it, and I'll start leading you in the direction. If I can't go alone, you're coming with me.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go with you. Hey, Agent Hart, Lieutenant MacCern.
Yeah, I was going to roll to see if I was paying attention to this, but with Zach calling out, yeah, I believe we last left Hev doing some yoga on the top of this hill. So I'll get up, stretch, grab my shirt, a different shirt because the last one we used to pick a flesh apple, throw it over my shoulder and make my way over.
I forgot.
Where are you two off to? A night on the town, perhaps?
I'm following the white rabbit. But in this case, it's not a white rabbit. It is a large bipedal skeletal wolf creature.
Yeah, what she said.
Liam is kind of just standing behind Hart, bristling with all of his weapons, just staring into the tent.
Your imaginary friend.
Yes. They're heading off. They keep stopping and waiting for me. You're all holding me back. I need to follow right now.
What is it's nighttime, right? Liam is going to very quietly say from behind Hart, going out in the dark is not the greatest idea.
I know, but we have equipment. We have flashlights. We can see around. I'm going to lose them if we stay.
This friend of yours.
Go ahead, Hart. Go ahead, bud.
This friend of yours, they're usually around. They stick around. If they leave, they come back.
Yes, but
I don't think he's going anywhere.
Is there something different about what your friend is doing this time compared to the usual, Zura? What makes this so urgent?
This is more direct. This is more like the answers. Like, I feel like I need to go now or I'll miss it.
Lieutenant MacCern, what do you think?
Oh, I already said this is a horrible idea. You don't go out into the middle of a forest in, as far as I am concerned, enemy territory in the dark.
I would agree with Mr. MacCern here. We're already down Mr. Kennedy, and hopefully we will be able to find him. But I don't think that Flesh City is going anywhere.
Okay. Okay. I'll try to wait until morning, and I'm making a mental note of which buildings SCP-1471 is getting closest to.
Sure.
Not sure if that'll help me in the morning, but just kind of accept that everyone's being like, please don't go.
You say it sends you pictures.
Yeah, on my phone.
Can we use that? Can it scout for us?
Yes, I think, but I'd be the only one to see it.
All right. Where is your friend now? Just point.
I'll point to the speck disappearing in the distance.
Yep.
I'm gonna stand tall and I'm gonna wave. I'm gonna do the come back here motion.
You know what? Why don't you roll me a fate roll?
Cool. 1d8. That's a 7.
Oh, good.
About as good as I can do.
Yeah.
That is actually good.
So you begin sort of waving to come back, and the spec doesn't seem to register that. But you notice a few other dark shadows that seem to be moving towards the spec, or where you would assume that the spec is, where it has been pointed out to you by Dr. Von Brandt. You see 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 maybe of these specks moving.
I'm gonna reach out to Zora's hand and just cover that flashlight she has and lean in, and I think this is exactly what Mr. MacCern was worried about.
They see Malos. They know Malos is there.
Can I sight in my scope on my sniper rifle to see what's going on, if anything?
Yeah, absolutely. You look down the scope and you see about 10 or 11 figures, the majority of whom are like the now melted Hevard Hart. However, 2 of them seem to be wearing what you would call normal civilian attire.
So they all look like flesh abominations, but a couple of them are wearing like jeans and t-shirts.
So the 2 who are they're wearing, yeah, like jeans and t-shirts. One of them has like an open button down over like a plain black. They don't look like those fleshy creatures. They look like people.
What did we call them? Were they the white rabbits or white? There was people operating here.
Yes, so is another force of the Foundation called the White Rabbits, who specifically deal with, wasn't it like time dilation and shit?
They deal with
Reality bending.
reality bending.
Reality
Yeah.
dilation, yeah.
I can't see them, but would this be them?
No, because they would be in military garb.
Yeah.
The first ones we saw were in military garb as well.
Yeah.
So Liam is gonna, without pulling his eye away from the scope, go, yeah, what seems to be 2 civilians not affected by whatever this is.
And as you say that, these shadows now sort of breaching the like edge of the city continue moving towards you, except as the flashlight is dimmed, instead of making a straight line to you, they begin to spread out in a wide arc as they continue to move forward
Towards us?
in your general direction.
Okay, Liam is falling flat on the ground and preparing his sniper rifle.
Is one of them Mr. Kennedy?
I do not see Mr. Kennedy at all, no. But they are approaching us.
With that, I think is a good opportunity for our camera to sort of pan back as we see this, what feels like a growing dire situation. Our field team, 12 of them outnumbered by these shambling is perhaps not the right word, but slow-moving entities approaching them. And then we shift back to an earlier scene when our newly born Hevard Hart liquefied. And as he did, the camera shifts away from him, away from that mess, that panic, over to Jackson. Jackson, who is pulling at his feet, and as he opens his mouth, falls into the earth. We follow him as he slides along wet, sticky, flesh-like tunnels, almost like as you would recognize this with your background.
Please don't know.
It's almost like veins.
Yeah, I knew
Harder.
you were going to say that. Oh. Awesome.
Except the wetness in them, you can just barely sort of make out as it splashes against you, is like a deep brown. And you feel yourself sliding and falling for quite some time until you fall into what seems like a room, deposited almost perfectly onto a wooden chair, which wobbles a bit under. The room around you is dimly lit, flickering with what you first think might be torchlight, but as your eyes adjust a bit more, you realize is like flickering fluorescence. The room itself is crowded, decorated with what looks like white marble statues. Many of them are at least similar to a lot of the traditional human figures you've seen carved out of marble in museums and other places, but it becomes clear that there have been some creative liberties taken with the human form throughout this room. Limbs where they shouldn't be, faces that have eyes, mouths in the wrong place, eye sockets filled with teeth instead of eyes, multiple sets of legs, arms, what have you. Ahead of you is a table, wide, plain, wooden. It's old, you can tell, weathered, scratched, carved down, and certainly seen better days. But that's not what keeps your attention. What keeps your attention is the figure on the other side of it. A hulking, massive, heavily gutted figure, naked, with a similar complexion and shape to the liquefied, but significantly larger. And their flesh, instead of like that other being's, which was fairly taut, seems to droop. It hangs from them, sloughing over their eyes, sagging down from their jowls, from their throat. Their arms have like flesh that seems to ripple over itself, and you can hear heavy breathing coming from them. And as they do, the flaps of flesh sort of writhe, and you get that sort of like... But that's not the only sound. The other sound is clattering, silverware against ceramic, a knife clattering against a large plate in front of this figure as they carve into what looks to be some sort of raw meat. You can't see their you can't really make out eyes beneath the sagged flesh, but you can feel its head tilt up a bit, and it feels like it's looking at you. But it doesn't stop cutting, it doesn't stop tearing this meat apart, though it doesn't make any effort to feed itself. What would you like to do, Captain Kennedy?
I'll kind of brush off some of the brownish liquid and just kind of I don't mean to be an asshole about this, but this is the third shirt that you guys have ruined in some way. Is there, if you got like an accounts department I can send a dry cleaning bill to or something along those lines?
You say that, and the entirety of this oversized, bloated, fleshy blob person ripples. And what comes from it is this strange sound of air and gas escaping that almost sounds like laughter. And then it sets down the knife and the fork. And it reaches to its arm and peels off a strip of flesh, thin and long. And then tugs, and you can hear it sort of snap away. At which point, one of its hands goes up to slick back as though one would their hair, and pulls on the flesh that is sagging, creating this sort of tautness as it drags it back. The flesh of its jowls being pulled back as well, creating this strange sort of face that seems almost like it's been stapled on or is now too small for the being it inhabits. And it begins to wrap the strip of flesh around. As it does, you can see these strangely mismatched eyes. One sort of an amber and the other one deep emerald. And they look at you, and it almost struggles to pull its lips together at first. And then it reaches up and it pulls on its top lip. And you can see it stretch just a bit to fit better. And slowly, the rest of the stretched flesh begins to sort of mold itself against what you have to imagine to be some kind of skeletal structure. Some kind
Amazing.
And it goes, we can get you another shirt.
That's I feel like I haven't dressed up for the occasion as well. I mean, I've got about a 15-inch collar. If you've got something that sort of size, preferably not too many buttons. Something,
Well, when we finish our talk, we can make that happen.
It's very civilized of you. I appreciate it.
Well, never let it be said that we don't take care of our own.
Okay, yeah, sure. I mean, why not?
So, what brings you here? Not here, I have brought you here, but to my home.
That's an excellent question. Well, initially it was that goddamn boat. Seriously.
And again, as it laughs, the rest of the loose flesh on its body sort of flaps against itself, creating what now seems kind of like an echo to the raucous laugh.
And yeah, well, I mean, you've met some of our people before. I'm sure some of them have already been here. I don't know if you've had any interactions with them. The old, SCP and such like.
The Foundation. We know Foundation. You were very rude before. Very
me?
rude. All of you, your friends. All of your friends. Rude.
It does happen, unfortunately. One of the things they don't teach you at the Foundation is manners. Unfortunately, it's something I'm trying to get a program together, kind of like an out of hours kind of thing to go over general mannerisms, but nobody wants to sign up to it.
I sent you an envoy. What do you do? Kill them. So I send you another. And what do? You deny them their right to be.
Yeah.
This is not a way to begin a friendship.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can, I can take some notes. I'm more than happy to feed your comments back. What I'll do, I'll set you up an online survey, and then you can just fill out the comment section, and we can take some feedback. Perfect. Always about learning more.
There is no online here. You will
Okay,
not
then-
have that. There is
Well,
enough corruption already here in me. I will not have more.
I guess I could take a message back. That's probably just as easy, I suppose.
Do you know the history of myself and your people?
Sounds kind of rude, but I don't actually. I'm kind of. I'll be honest with you. I didn't join the foundation through choice. It was more a matter of survival. So,
Yes. They do love that, don't they?
Tell me about it. Honestly, it's like, go here, do this. If you don't, you can always take your chances on the outside.
Well, then they did give you a choice, and perhaps not a good one, but more than some get.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I can still do some good. Keep some people alive. Maybe, who knows? Stop the odd apocalypse.
And which of those two are you here for? To keep people alive or to stop an apocalypse?
Want to say both. Mainly it's keeping people alive, I'll be honest. They kind of like, you know what it's like. They go off, they touch something, they're suddenly infected. What are you going to do?
This is exactly the question you are here to answer. What are you going to do? If you need people to keep alive, I have people for you to keep alive.
That could be, and this sounds terrible, and it's bad on my part, really. More of a, I guess lower organism kind of doctor. They're less evolved than yourselves, I would say. The kind of ones that don't really, they can't really change, and it's kind of what I specialized in.
See, you will do well. This is good. This is good. And then he puts his hands on the table and he rises. As he does, just you see this giant hulking form, 9 feet tall, with just again more of that sagging flesh and meat. Some of it drags along the floor behind him, almost like a fleshy cape. And looks back, then he motions for you to follow, and then stops, reaches down and picks up the bulk of that raw, unprepared meat, and pushes it against his mouth. He doesn't open his. Well, not conventionally. You see and hear the tearing of flesh as it splits down the center, all the way down to his chin, and it peels back. And as it does, you see the teeth that you had been able to make out through the stretched lips were not, in fact, set up like average persons. Instead, they are sort of jutting out of the bits of flesh that make up the cheek. And as he deposits this meat into the now open, gaping whole of a maw ripples closed, and you hear ripping and tearing. And then this horrible, guttural sort of almost like someone trying to force out a bunch of like excess snot. And then his entire form ripples.
Has anyone talked to you about the benefits of a plant-based diet? I'm just curious. I mean, it's, I got some leaflets somewhere. If that,
One of the benefits of the higher life form is the ability to consume the lower one. It helps continue to give them purpose beyond the end of their existence. It's cyclical, like all things should be. They end and begin anew as part of a new cycle. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Something I'm kind of keen to avoid myself, but I'm not here to argue. I'm I'm your guest.
We will get you fed and size 16 color.
15, sorry.
15, yes. Come. And he turns and begins moving towards this sort of broken, half off the hinge wooden door.
I know. I hesitate to ask because people here seem a little bit funny. What should I call you? Do you have a name yourself, or?
And they stop. And they freeze, almost perfect, for a moment. And sort of bobs back and forth, and as it does, you get that squishing sound. The flesh is compressed on either side. Stop. Call me Mark. I like
Mark.
that name. Not enough Marks around here.
I actually read an article the other day saying that it's been dropping in decline, the name Mark, for quite some time now. I think there was something like only 2-3% this year.
We're an absolute travesty.
No, I know. Tell me about it. I mean, it's a good, strong name. I mean, you meet someone called Mark, he's a trustworthy person.
Yes. This is true. This is the kind of conversation I have been making this whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get the feeling that I've only met a few people here, but yeah, I guess it's nice. I like it. Nice to chat about stuff.
And as you come closer, he puts his arm around you. And you can feel the indentation as the flesh sort of sloughs around your shoulders and comes to rest.
Awesome.
It's not the most pleasant of feelings. And
there's no nibbling going on or anything like that, is there? There's no kind of like, oh, okay, just checking.
Yeah, just friendly touch, no nomming. And he begins leading you towards the door. At which point, I think we're going to cut back to the rest of our party. Or field, as it were. So, you have Liam at least has dropped down to be prepared for whatever on the horizon. And what of the three of you are wonderful words and nerds? What is your reaction to these shadows moving towards you?
Is someone still holding my flashlight?
Yes.
Okay. I just kind of say under my breath, I don't think they mean harm. I mean, other than the ground, the literal ground, nothing here has hurt us.
I would agree. I say, looking down to the now prone MacCern. I would agree. But I also don't think this is the time to be drawing attention to us.
Oh, with that, I'll flick off my flashlight and hope that MacCern has night vision.
MacCern actually does have night vision.
Can flick that on now without being blinded.
MacCern pulls down the night vision goggles over his mask and is now watching very closely these figures as they approach.
Absolutely. Why don't you go ahead and make me an awareness perception check?
Yes, my friend, I should do that.
Awareness is the first under abilities.
Yep, awareness, and what was that?
Perception.
Perception. That makes kind of sense, doesn't it? 19.9.
Nice.
Real good. Was that with the benefit given by Zura, by Zoe?
I didn't know Zoe was giving me a benefit. Oh no, I didn't do exertion. If that's
I
what
get
you mean.
I
Oh, it
get
was
2
exertion.
exertions. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Always good. All right. Yeah, so you have very little trouble keeping your eye on all of these figures. As you move from one to the next, you are able to, obviously, because you recognize how many shadows it was, you are able to keep count as you move between them. And as they continue sort of moving in your direction, some of them sort of tapering off to the left and the right, casting, obviously, sort of a wide net. They begin to disappear from view as they cut around the side of the hill. But you notice that 2 of the, let's say 4 who are moving towards you almost directly are those 2 normal looking human figures, not humanoid ones. Although 2 of those like fleshy, nude humanoid figures are beside them. And as they get closer, it becomes easier to sort of make out. One, as I mentioned before, is just a very short-haired, deeply tanned human male in a like black, like a very plain black t-shirt, button down with kind of faded jeans. He's got some tattoos on his arm, though what they are is still, it's some kind of sleeve on both sides, so it's hard to make out the specifics of it, but nothing stands out to you as like religious iconography or anything arcane or occult, at least from here. The other is a dark-skinned woman, bald, with bright sort of purple lipstick and intricate sort of makeup around her eyes.
All
And
green to me.
yeah, that's true. Actually, you're right. And a just very plain sort of button-down shirt with the top button undone and a tie sort of loosened, and a pair of just like black slacks, green slacks. And they are making towards almost a direct line. In the meantime, Dr. Ryan, what do you do?
So I did want to ask Zoe, is Zura still holding Zach's hand?
Would it be funner if she was?
Sure.
Okay, sure. She's still holding Zach's hand.
So I think Zach is just standing close to her and close to Hev, kind of watching Lieutenant MacCern. I don't think he's doing anything defensive or preparatory. He doesn't love the fact that we're being approached at night, but as Hev pointed out, outside of what happened on the beach, nothing has been directly aggressive to us yet. So he's just waiting.
Liam is going to get up into a kneeling firing position and turn back to Hevard and say, I think you're up, lad.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I think you're up, lad.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just take a couple steps forward. Not too terribly far away from everyone, just a couple steps forward and just stand there invitingly.
It takes about a minute, maybe 2 or 3, honestly, for these figures to get close enough for you to be able to. Yes.
Do I still have eyes on the other figures, or have they left my line of sight when they went around the hill?
They have left your immediate line of sight. You can, for some of them, you can sort of shift from one way to the other, but out of a grand total of originally 10, you can probably see about 6 of them now, 4 in that group centered, and then 1 on either side sweeping wide, but the last 4 of them have moved well outside of your range.
Just to let you know, Hevard, we are getting flanked as we speak.
Wonderful.
Zach just like whispers to Zura, "Is that bad?"
Maybe they just want to say hello. I think flanking is generally bad though.
Yeah, that sounds like saying hello from multiple directions.
Yeah. And I'll start backing up.
And Zach will go with you.
Are y'all? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I do have my night vision camera, which I would have grabbed if I noticed people wandering off into the darkness. So I'm just going to take that. I'm just going to turn around and present it to whichever one of my nerds will take it.
Zach will take it.
Okay.
Love it. Okay. It takes a couple of minutes for the group of 4 to sort of approach, and they stop about 7 or 8 feet away. At which point it's very clear. You can make out the details of these 2 people and the clear lack of details of their 2 flesh humanoid companions. The woman steps forward, and after a sort of passing glance at Lieutenant MacCern, looks up at you, Hev, and sort of bows her head a bit and then puts her hand. She goes, "Welcome."
Yes. Hello. Welcome to this little camp we set up here. She looks like a regular person.
She does?
Yeah. Nobody I recognize.
No.
I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'll take a few more steps forward. You said she held out her hand.
She did.
I'll take a couple steps forward and I'll shake her hand.
Her hand closes around yours, gives you a firm but not overly aggressive handshake. Then Hevard, very nice to meet you, Caroline.
An interesting name.
Why is that?
I just recently met another Caroline.
Ah. Interesting. Well, I assume, based on what we've heard from our short-lived friend, that you are Foundation. Yeah?
We're a bit of a diverse crew, at least as far as where we come from, who we work for, I suppose. But yes, the Foundation is currently signing many of our paychecks.
That is how it starts for so many. Well, while you're here, perhaps we can offer you some... She looks past you again at the sort of tent setup that you have. Nicer amenities than these. No reason for your stay to be any less comfortable than it has to be. I imagine there is a understandable sense of nerves, fear, maybe even, though You seem fairly calm, which is good. It should make things easier in the long run. But if you would
Well, we
like,
didn't want to impose. I know we showed up, presumably uninvited. But we heard such interesting things about this place and wanted to check it out.
most of us show up here uninvited. It very rarely causes problems. Although, as I'm sure you've noticed out on the beachhead, there are other problems that we are concerned with. None
We
we
noticed
blame
that.
you for, of course. We can offer you beds, perhaps a change of clothes, food. I know so many of the Foundation who come here rely on, what is the term for it? MRE? Is that the term? Those little meal kits, right? Those can't be particular. In fact, I know they're not particularly good. I've heard the stories many times. But we can provide you some fresh food. If you feel comfortable eating it, of course.
Well, I have to say you're the first person to be so hospitable to us on our arrival. Could you? We're here to get to know each other, I suppose.
Hmm.
Before accepting any sort of invitation to whatever hospitality you're providing, I think it's fair we get to know each other a little bit better.
Why don't you go ahead and for this one, I'm going to ask you to roll me a charisma.
All right. 2d8, 2d10. What flavor of charisma are we doing here?
Are going to go with a persuade.
Persuade.
Yeah, that's under abilities.
There it is. Been a minute since we looked at these character sheets. All right, there we go. Cool.
Y'all keep me so busy with all the roleplay.
Yeah, I cannot use exertion for social skills, but we'll see how this goes.
That's okay. I'm sure you'll find a reason to use exertion.
Okay, that is an 18.1.
We have a hydrate check real quick. Thanks, Dell. Here's I'll hydrate. She takes a moment and sort of laughs and nods and goes, all right, well, what is it that we can do that will make you feel more comfortable? What would you like to know? We are an open book.
Well, I will look off to the fleshy skyline in the distance. This is your home out there?
And, well, all of this is our home. But yes, that is where we spend the majority of our time. I mean, there are others, obviously. This isn't the only city here, but this is the one that I reside in most often.
Are there many cities on this island?
There are 7.
7.
Yeah.
What do you call this one?
Utopia.
It's a lofty name. It makes me curious what the others are called.
Unfortunately, I think you would be bored to find out that they are all called Utopia.
That sounds confusing.
I can understand why you would think that, but there is an understanding amongst those of us who reside here, and it is an easy distinction to make. Sort of an innate understanding that we share.
Context is always important. Utopia. From the Greek utopos.
Yeah.
A perfect place and a place that can never be.
think that
And
it
yet,
lives up
apparently, sorry, what was that?
I said I think it lives up to the name strongly.
Well, what can you tell me of your fair cities?
Well, there is so much and only so much time that we can spend here speaking. Please, if you have questions, ask them. But I believe it perhaps is a bit long-winded of me to give you an entire rundown of the history. We are not so different. Oh, yes.
I do actually have questions for you. And at this point, she'll let the death grip on poor Zachary's hand go. And can you see that one? And I'll point at SCP-1471 in the distance.
How interesting. Barely. But I can tell something there.
Have you heard of them before?
Ooh.
Them. And I point again. I'm looking for a name mostly. They find it difficult to communicate.
I don't think offhand, but perhaps she stops for a moment and you see her eyes sort of glaze over for a moment. And then she snaps back and goes, Mark might be able to give you more information.
Is Mark a scientist? I'm eager to speak to your scientists here.
Mark is a scientist of sorts.
We would love to meet him.
Oh, he would love to meet you, I'm certain. Mark is always excited to meet new people.
Does Mark reside in this utopia?
Mark resides everywhere.
Oh.
Is this Mark a leader of your people?
We don't like to think in those terms. I suppose if you were to simplify it, yes, Mark would probably be the closest thing that we have to a leader, but all of our voices are heard and all of our voices are listened to, and it is only when we find a unison anything really happens. But you will see from the lack of constant fires and collapse that we often find that unity.
A testament to the city's name, then.
We were attacked on the beach. Do you know why? I was actually injured from it.
Show me,
Right now?
please.
Assuming she means the injury, not the location of the attack, I do show
Yeah.
my leg.
And, immediately, she sort of like drops down to one knee and will like sort of push at your pant leg a bit.
So wait. To be
Yes.
fair,
Yeah.
the way that I had this situated in my head was Zora.
Oh.
So they Hevard went up in front.
Mhm.
Then it was Liam, and the nerds were behind Liam. If there was an approachment at that point, Liam would have stepped in between.
Okay. My understanding was that Zura had moved forward, but that may have been on me misinterpreting.
Okay, if she moved forward, Liam would have also gotten in between her and.
That's fair. Yeah, she did get closer, but yeah, if Liam's body blocking, that's the thing.
Yeah. So I would assume as Caroline begins to like sort of move close, Liam, you sort of like, do you get up from your like kneeled position then to interject yourself? Okay. So are you doing like chest to chest almost? Or are you keeping a bit of are you closer to like Zura or are you closer to Caroline?
I'm closer to Zura.
Okay. And she stops. And she sort of just like looks you over. And you see an amused sort of smile come over. Protective.
It's my job.
That's good. It's good. It's a good job to have. I just would like to see if there's any risk of infection We are, fortunately, in a never-ending war and cannot afford to have it spread.
Liam will
And
turn one eye towards Zura as if to confirm it's okay that this is happening.
I believe there may have been something, but I think it was extracted by our doctor who is now missing. And I will show like I'll pull up the pant leg, undo the bandage and stuff like that, and show what is basically left of the injury.
And JD, you had something you wanted to do?
I mean, Zach's going to ask, what are you in a never-ending war against? What was that on the beach?
That is a complicated question that I cannot unfortunately answer for you right now because there are concerns. But assuming everything checks out, it's information I would be happy to offer you. But we would need to be sure first, lest any potential contagion spread.
Understood.
Liam's head is going to cock a little as his green central eye goes back to this Caroline individual. And he is going to point at the GOC symbol on his chest and say, "Have you seen this before?"
Oh, yeah.
Are there any of us
Here?
still around?
No, I don't think so. In fact, you may be the first here ever.
Then where have you seen this symbol before?
Well, I haven't existed here forever. Not yet, at least. Now, if you'll excuse me, and she points towards Zura, I would like to take a look at your friend.
Yes, please. If there's something infecting me, I would like to know now.
Ma'am.
Liam takes a very, very hard look up and down at Caroline, and then takes but one step to the side, making sure that she is very aware he will be standing right over her for this.
It's just that teeny tiny like shift.
Yeah.
And she nods at you and then walks past and sort of kneels down. And she reaches out and she kind of like puts her hand around your calf to sort of position you like, and you will notice that as soon as she begins focusing on this, the way she's handling you is less with concern. She's very much fixated on this wound. And she sort of like shifts your like,
Oh,
I'm so sorry. She lets you go. And she reaches into one of her pockets and then stops and looks over at you, Liam, and then very slowly pulls out what looks like a very plain, like blank kerchief and wipes her hands.
While she was reaching in her pocket, the only sensory anything that comes from Liam is a soft creak of the gun as the grip hardens a little bit. But other than that, there was absolutely no movement.
Well, your doctor did a wonderful job. Speaking of, I wouldn't worry too much. He is perfectly safe. He is, I believe, and she stops again, and you see her eyes glaze over for another moment as she just stops moving. And then her eyes sort of shoot back up, and she looks up at you and goes, "Is with Mark."
oh, good. That's relief.
It is more of a relief than you know. We have needed more medical professionals.
For the conflict, I assume.
Yes, can you say more about that now?
we will have to take you first to see Mark and see what he has to say about that. There are more than just physical wounds to be concerned with.
Well, I think you can understand our hesitation or concern, knowing that there is conflict happening.
Especially
Perhaps
one
maybe
that we
not.
stepped in the middle of.
It's difficult for us, both practically and morally, knowing that there is conflict, to get too involved in one side without knowing what that conflict is.
That's a very valid point. We are not necessarily asking you to join us in this conflict. We are merely ensuring that you are not already working for another. And as you have not presently shown us any threat, we are happy to offer amenities and peace, but it does not mean that we can lower our
Of course.
completely. But no, if you have no interest in being involved, you are welcome to leave. We will not keep you here. The only people who stay are the ones who choose to.
We were sent here because the mainland, the Foundation, lost contact. Is that also because of this conflict? Were you unable to send any messages out anymore?
There are reasons that we have chosen to remove from ourselves contact with the outside world. The means through which we would do so are no longer safe.
I see. That's actually why we're here, to confirm what has happened here.
Of course, fact-finding and not support. It is the Foundation's way. I apologize. I mean no offense to you, of course.
No, your assessment is quite accurate.
The Foundation is quite careful in that. Now, yes.
Before we came here, we were exposed to a cube that affected us somehow. We were told we needed it to be safe while here. No explanation was given as to why that would happen. But is it something that needs to be reapplied at any point?
This must be new. Do you have? Did you tell me more about this cube? Obviously, if you are not comfortable with it, don't. But if you are, I would like to know everything.
As far as I could tell, it was need to know, and we were not given the cube for any reason.
Right.
You may be aware that the Foundation likes to take every conceivable precaution that they can, even ones that are seemingly unnecessary.
Yes.
I'm sure that's all that was.
Yes, but fear is a powerful motivator, and sometimes can birth useful. We've seen it.
Of course. That is very true, especially during a time of conflict.
Yeah.
But hope can also be as powerful as of a motivator. That, I believe, is at least what I am here for. Hope in understanding what is going on here. Hope for future positive relations. Hope that we can get past whatever fear may be purposely or unintentionally driving a wedge between whatever factions may be involved here. Ourselves, yourselves, whatever this war may be.
Yes. I will tell you this, because I think it is fair for the group of you to know, no matter what it is you do next. Well, except perhaps you. She motions towards Liam. You will find, not simply here, but in your life, wherever it may take you, the Foundation doesn't take sides. This is by design. And if you do, you will have to find a way within yourself to resolve that conflict. Because the Foundation will not take sides.
How did you
That's
get
generally
here?
What?
How did you get here?
My goodness, so long ago. By boat.
What brought you here? In terms of why were you in the area to begin with? Were you a part of the SCP or another organization, or did you just find yourself here by accident?
I was where, well, again, not you, but the rest of you were. Yes. I was once a member of your foundation. Their foundation. I apologize. I imagine that is an incredibly offensive thing to say to you.
I'll let it slide.
Well, I think we all generally understand at least some sort of baseline for who we are, what our values may be. I'm not opposed to taking you up on your hospitality, especially if that hospitality is already being extended to our Mr. Kennedy. We would like to meet with him again, make sure he is safe.
Of course.
Not that I am accusing anybody of anything. However, it is concerning when a member of a team goes missing in the dark of night on our first night out.
Oh, certainly. If you'd like, we can take you directly to him. Although, again, if you'd prefer, we can provide you with food, rest, and you can see him in the morning. Whatever would work best for the group of you. We have no preference either way.
Do you have a means of communicating with him?
Indirectly.
Do you have a means for us to communicate with him?
Not in any way that you would be comfortable with in the present. At the like clear look on your face, there is a break in what's been pleasant but serious from her, and there is a bit of a sort of stifled laugh.
I try to keep my perspectives as broad as I can.
Of course.
Well, I loosely turn and look back at the rest of the team. Are we roughing it for the evening, or are we taking our new potential friends here up on their hospitality?
I mean, I think we should go to Jackson, right? If our plan is already to meet with this Mark, shouldn't we do that sooner rather than later?
I would agree. That accomplishes most of our current goals. Find Jackson. Establish a dialogue.
Liam's green eye is going to turn to Zura.
my opinion, it doesn't matter to me, really. We can stay here or we can go in, but I would be interested in knowing if Mr. Kennedy's all right.
Liam's gonna look at the other three before slinging his gun back over his shoulder and going back into the tent. And
Liam, real quick, I'm sorry to
Yes.
cut you off. Why don't you roll me another perception awareness?
yeah,
Actually, I think instead of perception awareness, what I'm gonna have you roll here is a yeah, let's call it a charisma psychology. No, that's not quite your thing, but I think that's what we're gonna go with.
you what?
Charisma psychology. You're the only one I'm going to ask to do this specifically because you're the one who is making that focused, concerted effort in the way. I know it's not Liam's best skill.
I did. So I rolled 2d8. I got a 7 and a 6.
Ooh.
So that's 13 plus 1.4. So that's a 14.4.
Very nice. So you notice that there is a very distinct difference in the way that the three people behind her are carrying themselves. There is a rigidity to the two fleshy humanoid beings, but almost a sort of excited curiosity in the way that this other guy who is with them is sort of holding himself, and the way his eyes seem to sort of shift between the lot of you, and you can see a lot of the markers that you have been trained to notice throughout your time with the GOC as sort of it's either like excited nervousness or just muted glee.
Liam is going to note that for later. Liam notices this. And nod to the other three and says, well, I guess I should pack then. And Liam is going to go and start getting some bags together of no specific importance. And I guess he'll just come out a couple minutes later with a bag slung over his arm.
Is there anything the group of you would like to do in the meantime? I assume you will take your time packing up, pulling things together, except I assume Zura, who already has done that. You're muted. You're muted on Zoom.
My tent is still standing, but I assume we can come back for that tomorrow.
Sure, yeah. Is there anything anyone would like to do before the group of you set off towards Utopia?
I mean, I think Zach will talk to Caroline and just having noted how her eyes will glaze over and the comment she made about communication, I think he will just ask, so is this like a hive mind sort of thing? Telepathy? What's up with this?
Well, before I answer that, we do have a hydrate check from Meta Temptress. Thank you, Meta. Cheers.
I love hydrate checks.
Same. That finishes off my water. For now.
For now.
So there is a clear sort of amused look on her face as you ask her this. And she goes, well, it's somewhere between the two. There is a consciousness that I don't know how much you know about things like social psychology or the like. But
I'm a social psychologist, so please,
that works out.
I'm listening.
I perhaps will still keep it simple for now because it is not exactly the same. But I assume you are aware of the concepts of a collective consciousness, collective human consciousness.
That was exactly what I was thinking of.
Yes, we still have ourselves. We are not a hive mind, a single mind, rather, but there is a unity between us that is very difficult to explain to you because, well, it is, as someone who did not start this way, very different from anything that we experienced before. Do you ever have those moments when you wake up and you realize you're the only person in the room? And for just a moment, it saddens you.
Well, I don't sleep, so that isn't something I experience. But I can imagine it.
I don't know that that's better. I will not be so bold as to ask what keeps you from sleeping. But if you're ever looking for any assistance with that, there is a peace that comes with being here.
I will keep that in mind.
My
And
biggest question there, Lass, is what's the difference between you and then Liam turns and points at the fleshy things and them?
birth, circumstance. They have always been here, and I have not.
Didn't we see people in SCP gear that looked more fleshy bits?
No, the people you saw in SCP gear, in the
full
Foundation
humans?
gear, were, yeah, they did seem, from what you could tell. Yeah.
Okay. And do you speak with them in the same way that you speak to this Mark?
Of course.
And they speak back.
Of course. They are different, but not as different as you may assume. I would ask, and I know this is likely not going to happen, but I would ask that you do the best you can to check the preconceived notions that you have come here with at the beach. There is much here that you and your ilk would be happy to raise to the ground, but to do so would be an atrocity unlike that which you could possibly understand from the position you start from. It's easy to believe you are doing the right thing if you have already convinced yourself of such. But I ask that you come with an open mind, and if at the end of it you feel the same way, I will not tell you we won't fight back if you choose to, but I will not begrudge you the thought.
I would like to hope that we can all get to know each other amicably and well and part on positive terms.
Yeah. Though, once again, as long as there is no reason for it, you are welcome to not part. Not that we will stop you.
That is comforting to know.
Anything
Are you ready to head out?
Yes. Let's go. We will take you to your friend. And with
On your
that,
way up here,
yes.
we noticed a few more of you
Yeah.
out and about. Are they still around?
You are concerned.
Can understand why we are concerned.
Of course. I will not lie to you. Of course they are out there. As I hope you will understand, our first interaction with you was a bullet to the head. And so,
Sort of give a squinty side eye to Liam over there.
And so,
Liam is grinning under his mask.
we took precaution. They are here. They will not
Very
harm
reasonable.
you. They will rejoin us in their own time.
Preconceived notions and fear, as you said before. Hopefully we can help abate that in the future.
Yeah. Well then, shall we? And she turns on her heel, and her hands fold behind her back, clasping one over the other. And with a rigid straightness, she begins to lead the group of you down towards Utopia. And I think this is the perfect place for us to take our break. We're going to go take 15 or so minutes, get some water, use the bathroom, stretch out, walk around, not be here. You should go do the same. We're going to be back, and we will be back with the second part of this episode of A Crumbling Foundation. I don't know why I turned into William Shatner for a moment, but I did. Anyway, we'll see you soon.
Happens to the best of us.
Oh, I hope not. Hey everyone, we're back. Hope that you had a good break, took the time to go get a drink, get a snack, stretch out, get away from the evil blue lights of the computer. But we hope you're back now, and if not, hi, this is me saying we're back, so come back, please. We miss you. As we return, I think what we are going to start with is a bit of an overview of what you've been up to, Jackson. To be fair, it's not much, but you have been given in the time since meeting a nice, comfortable room with a very soft bed, definitely softer than the bed that you get at the Foundation.
Yeah.
Some honestly fantastic, what seems like Master Chef style meals, and a couple of nice shirts to choose from. And besides that, there hasn't been much. It hasn't been particularly long. Mark has essentially explained that he wants to give you the opportunity to sort of settle in, be comfortable. He knows it isn't particularly great out there, and so this way you can get comfortable and settle in, and then we'll talk what he calls business. The trip for the rest of you is a fairly easy one. If any of you make conversation, it is returned if it is directed to your guide. Otherwise, you don't really get much in the way of response besides the occasional nod or groan of agreement. It's not entirely certain whether it's because there is a lack of the ability to speak or just an unwillingness to engage with you yet. The other guy who's with them, the normal guy, for lack of a better term, is introduced as Quentin. But beyond that, very little is told to you about Quentin. Eventually, you find yourselves entering the city of Utopia. The ground is, well, it has the same textures that you would expect from concrete and poured roads, but it all carries that same sort of fleshy colorization as the buildings themselves. There is no steel, metal, or anything remotely like what you saw out in the woods. Everything here, with the exception of perhaps the glass window panes in the buildings, is made of this fleshy substance. As you enter the city, there are plenty of people, even now at night, walking around, and they seem to be engaging with each other. They don't pay you much mind, actually, and that includes the fleshy humanoid beings that, for the sake of simplicity for now, I will refer to as utopians. And as you arrive, your guide stops. She looks at the rest of you and goes, "While you are here, I have only one request. You are welcome to explore and engage as you would like, but be respectful. Don't be aggressive or put yourself in a position where anyone could, for any reason, find what you're doing to be distasteful. Not out of a concern for safety, but manners. We treat each other well, and would appreciate the same from you." And her eyes sort of linger on Lieutenant MacCern as she says that.
Is there any light sources going on, like in this city, or is it as dark as it is in the woods?
There are some light sources sort of scattered throughout the streets. There's sort of these low flickering bulbs, but the bulbs too seem like almost translucent veiny sacks that hang from flesh-colored lampposts. And as such, the light is slightly dimmer than you would expect from, or that you would get from your traditional light.
So would it still be beneficial for Liam to keep on the night vision goggles?
Probably not. It's
Okay.
light enough that you can see where you're going and you can make things out. The night vision, if you're too close to one of them, will probably be not blinding, but will impact your vision. From far away, it may be helpful, but not consistently enough for it to be worth it.
Liam is going to pull up the goggles and look over at her. There's not a real response, just kind of like a stare from behind the dark rims.
And as you stare at her, it feels like she is staring back directly into your eyes. There is a unique feeling I think everyone can attest to that exists when you make eye contact with someone and it just sort of lingers. And that's there. It's pretty clear that whether or not she actually can see them, there is a eye contact beyond your visor.
Zach does want to ask before we go anywhere further. Zach does want to ask, are there any social norms or customs for Utopia that we should be aware of? I would not want us to accidentally offend simply due to lack of knowledge.
That is incredibly kind of you to ask. There is nothing that I can think of that would stand out or be noticeable to the group of you as strange, and I don't see any reason for it to be any different from anywhere else that you would inhabit.
So simply the rules of hospitality on
Right.
both sides.
Yes. And I think you will also find here that your inquisitive mind is going to be in good company. She says as she nods towards one of the fleshy humanoid beings, the Utopians, as they walk past, are as curious about you and us as you are of them. There are only so many of us here. And as they have learned, all of us are very different.
Are all of them very different?
Yes, but not in the way that we would think it. A lot of their growth cycle comes from understanding us. We came first.
If you came first and you were not always here,
Well, we came first.
I would actually head to my computer, pick up the DNA structure and show that to her. Does this look familiar? Is this you or them?
That is from the apple, or that is from what you received? Remind me.
I think that was from the apple.
Okay. She looks it over and goes, that is closer to them, but different. What is the best way that I can explain this to you without keeping us here too long? There are many forms that the flesh takes. Some, like us, like you and I, are us. Some are marked, and some are finding a place that isn't marked.
As I'm looking around, can I roll an SCP lore check on what I will type to you in chat? It will not fight me doing so.
Sneak.
And my spelling will be bad because I'm trying to type quickly.
Sure, that's fine. Yes, you can.
Okay. So that would be intelligence. Wait. Yes, intelligence.
Yeah. SCP lore is int. It's under knowledge.
Well, at least it wasn't a 1. So that's 7, 8, 9, 10. 13.5.
They're both fleshy.
Okay.
That's all. Yeah. But there's very little that stands out to you as being something you can really figure out in that regard. Would you like me to take you to your friend?
Yes, please.
Wonderful. And as she leads you through Utopia, she calls to attention a few of the buildings and the makes and model of them and how they resemble certain buildings that some of you might be familiar with as landmarks from the world outside of this island. And there is one that she stops for a moment and goes, "No, you wouldn't know of that one," and continues walking. It's this long, tall, spire-like building that has these sort of bridges that jut out from the top of it and then come down into more of those thin spires. It seems, based on the windows and what you see inside of them, like a residential building. And after about a 25 or so minute walk deep into the city of Utopia, you come to what looks like a fleshy recreation of the White House.
Interesting. While we are moving throughout the city, can I just look about at the population here?
Yeah.
What
Is there anything in particular you're looking for? You're just trying to get a...
well, first of all, I want to see what the ratio is between humans and utopians, but more importantly than that, I just want to see how people are interacting with each other.
Why don't you roll me an awareness perception? Or if you would prefer, I would allow you to roll a psychology charisma or an empathy charisma. Each will give you different information.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go the psychology route here.
Sure. Sounds like
Hey,
a good
Lion.
plan. Yeah.
Can I also roll? I would like to roll for architecture.
Absolutely, you can roll for architecture. Heck yeah.
Cool.
All right, that is an exploding D10.
Ooh.
That's cool. I also rolled a 1. That's not great, but
oh no.
See how this goes. Not fantastic, really. Uh, 15.4.
Okay. Is Hev a people watcher?
Oh yeah.
I figured.
Oh yeah.
So what you see is two things I will give you. One is even without a perception roll, you can tell that there is a very distinct difference between the number of humans and utopians. For every one human you see, you probably see 15, 20 utopians. It's very, very much skewered in one direction. As far as how they interact with each other, it very much reminds you of kind of sitting in Central Park watching people. It seems very cordial and playful. There are people who are a little more on the raucous side, but others who just sort of stand together as a group, just engaging in conversation as they go. It very much reminds you of any like city street you would walk down and see people living their lives.
I know JD had a role going on there, but I was actually wondering if I could do an art or music. I wanted to like see the culture of this place.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, well, we could do an art roll. Yeah. Okay.
Also, looking for like patterns in like if there is music anywhere, the patterns in the music would be pretty interesting to Zura.
Okay. I don't think there's any music that you come across, but I will allow you to make an art roll
Mhm.
to see if you can recognize any patterns in um maybe the style of dress or the layout of the city itself. Not necessarily
Okay.
in the construction of the city, but how the city is designed.
Very cool. Okay, I'll do that.
Great. And in the meantime, AD
17.2.
for architecture. Love it. Okay. Well, you recognize as you're walking through, even beyond just the places that are being pointed out to you, while maybe not what you would expect from a city made of flesh, this is all reminiscent of popular architects. These are all of these buildings, from the residential buildings to the what look like more office or commercial buildings to everything else, very much seems almost like one for one recreations in flesh of those works. They follow all of the same rules and logic and expectations you would see in these places, almost to the point where, as someone who has studied architecture, you would wonder if these architects were here, because for a lot for a lot of people it's an art, and there are very small specific things that different architects do differently, and when someone mimics another architect's design or concept, there are noticeable differences more often, but none of those are noticeable. These are perfect recreation.
Are there any specific styles, or is it kind of an amalgamation of multiple ones?
It is sort of a mishmash of different ones. There's not even really a pattern that you can see in how that is set up. It's almost like someone went, "Oh, this is cool. I'll put this here. Oh, this is also cool. So we'll just jam that next to it." There is no cohesion between. So,
I rolled 18.9.
I'm also going to ask you to make me a fate roll.
Sure, I can do those. Sort of.
Yay! Sort of.
Let's adjust that. There we go. Now roll. 14.
Okay. Zora, as you are walking through the city, you are sort of focusing on the steps you're taking. Have you're moving and layout of the things around you. And there is a familiarity to them. It's strange, but it calls back to after a moment, it almost sort of clicks in your head. A lot of this seems to mimic, or resemble at least, some of the symbols that you saw in Director Eden's office when everything had gone white.
Okay. I will probably start sketching them down as I see them.
Sure, absolutely. And as you go about doing that, you notice there are patterns in the groups of utopians that move through the city beyond you.
Okay.
Not necessarily that it's the same position of the same group over and over again, but you notice a very clear, almost like pie, if that makes sense. There is this strange correlation that you can't really connect in your head between the numbers of them and how they move throughout the city as you pass them. Something is missing. something just isn't sitting right. But I
Is
don't.
this
Oh, go ahead.
is this a sensation of the pattern being off or incomplete, or
You aren't sure if it's that the pattern is incomplete or that you are missing a piece of information that makes it clear.
okay. I'll jot that down regardless. And just keep watching because I'm fascinated at this point. They seem to be moving more like an organism, like a man of war or something like that.
Yeah. Eventually, the group of you make it to this perfect flesh copy of the White House.
Those are words.
It did make up a fully comprehensive sentence, yeah.
Surrounding it is a sort of bone and a muscle crossed mesh fence. And standing at the gates of this fence are 4 Utopia.
For my own reference, is there a flesh Lincoln sitting in a chair?
There is, in fact, a flesh recreation of Lincoln.
Fantastic.
If you get close enough, you can even see little bits of sinew that sort of make up the beard hair. Yeah.
I mean, if it's flesh, you might as well just grow the beard out of it. No?
It's fair. I assume it's the first time you've ever seen a like fleshy hat like that too. But yeah, you reach the gates, and with a nod, the 4 of them step aside, and there is a grinding sound as these gates pull open. And you notice she sort of rolls her eyes. And then once they stop, he motions for the group of you to follow. Jack. Oh, yes.
Could I pick up whether that was bemused eye roll, frustrated eye roll, sarcastic eye roll?
Yeah, it was bemused. It was like a bemused, maybe a touch sarcastic. Yeah, I'm not gonna make you roll for that one.
Like this show is a little over the top sort of thing.
Yes,
gotcha.
Absolutely. Jackson, there is a knock at your door.
Yeah, it's open.
The door opens, and in walks Mark. Once again, with all of the excess flesh sort of pulled back into a meaty ponytail. Back of his head. How's everything treating you?
It's unbelievable. Can't remember the last time I had food this good. The bed is soft. It's yeah, this is I didn't know what I was going to expect, but it certainly wasn't this. This is impressive.
Well, I'm glad that you're enjoying our hospitality.
Yeah.
Your friends have arrived and would like to see you, and I would like to bring you to them. Or have you brought to them? Perhaps not immediately introducing myself. I'm aware that my personage is not what you are used to.
They're open-minded. I wouldn't worry about it.
Then let us go as friends.
Yeah, I'd like that.
Once again, he sort of like plops his arm on you. There is that squishing, fleshy sound.
Yeah, that's fine.
And he lets out this big, sort of like deep, hearty laugh that makes all of his bits ripple, including the flesh that is slung over you. He begins to lead you through these halls, and into a large room that has within it a large, very pristine black, like wooden desk and a number of chairs, each cushioned well, and two couches that sort of sit opposite each other. And yes,
So from my kind of observations, there's no metal here at all, is there?
no. The closest thing was the silverware that he had been using for that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You would notice, I think. Why don't you roll me a perception? Actually, a perception awareness.
Yes.
Let's see.
Perception awareness. Oh yeah, now we're talking. Okay. 1, 2, 3, and then D10. Okay. Yeah, that is 12.
12. Okay. With a 12, you will notice that at least in some places where you would expect to see metal, there's like bone, like shaved bone, that seems to have taken its place, usually reinforced with strips of muscle. Make yourself comfortable, please.
No, I
I'm sure
appreciate
you'll
that.
be here any moment now.
Do you mind if I ask I mean, you seem to be getting on quite well, a bit of rapport. Can I ask a question? Is that okay with you?
Question.
Hmm.
You have questions for me and expect me to answer them. No, I'm just joking.
You always got me there, didn't you?
Yes,
That was
please.
good.
Please
That was a
ask
good one.
away.
Yeah. Oh. Nothing. You don't have any kind of metal here.
Metal.
Is that by design, or just there's just no way to make it here? I'm just curious.
The day that you discovered how to treat these minerals and craft them was an awful day. No, there is no metal here where I can help. If I have my way, it will stay that way. Of course, barring that which you have brought with you, and I'm not going to be upset.
Yeah.
In walks Liam.
It's
lead counts as metal, right?
It just reminds me of it just reminds me of something we came across, something quite weird in our own investigations, like a organization where they were fusing metal to people. It's weird.
What?
Just keeping my eye on him and just gauging his kind of response to it.
His whole face drops, and you can see the flesh around his eyes sort of struggle to droop into sort of a furrowed brow. The joviality seems to drain his face. It almost looks like his cheeks begin to sink inwards.
It's weird, right? I mean,
Where have you seen?
Oh, well, that's a good question. If I had to guess, I would say it was some kind of other place. It wasn't our world, because we had to travel there via some kind of mystical doorway thing. But yeah, lots of weird kind of grafting going on. People, I don't know, they seem to want to do it. It's weird. Very strange.
Ruin themselves with blasphemy.
Yeah. You've not come across, I mean, you guys know quite a bit. Something, but I guess that's something you've not come across yourselves.
Hang on one moment. I have some dice.
Oh dear.
We hate those words, Lion. We hate those words.
How much can Jackson Kennedy fit into the stomach at once?
No, yep. Nervous
Fine.
now. You're fine. You're gonna be great.
Fine.
Tell me everything you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was so we were called out to a building where a girl had gone missing. Did some digging around. I got covered in weird viscous goo, and yeah, there was a ruins that opened up a long passageway and led to a, I want to say, church of some sort. There was definitely a throne-like structure in there, and yeah, who was it? It was some kind of lion-headed guy sat on the throne. I think, yeah, that's yeah, pretty sure that's what he looked like. You've not. I only asked because it was a bit weird, and you know.
You said you were covered in this ichor. Or you
Oh yeah. I was. Yep. I immediately. We've got like a radiation shower unit, so don't worry about that. Absolutely, completely cleansed.
You sit. Be comfortable. We shall wait for the rest of them. Have any of the others encountered this ichor?
Well, they've seen it, but it was mainly just me that got exposed to it. Nobody else. Like I said, thoroughly detoxed and cleaned, and you know, all the safety precautions taken and everything. Something you come across before?
Yes. We are.
It's the same as those things on the beach, isn't it?
Receptive. Yes. The front of our brother. There is much to discuss, but I do not know if you're. I'm eating this with no untoward disrespect that your mind is
None
prepared
take me.
to understand just yet. There are too many lives to unravel first.
Hey, no disrespect taken. You know, I'm a simple man, and this is a complex subject. Don't you worry about that.
Tell me something.
Yeah, sure.
When you shared this with the Foundation, what did they do? Tell you to do with what of it?
Well, I mean, we took away all the people that had been exposed, were kind of relocated and checked out and everything, and yeah, I mean, didn't really find out much more about it, really. But you know what they're like.
Yes. And there is a seething rage that you can see sort of, again, rippling through the
Mhm.
entirety of him. His eyes seem to sink into his skull a bit more, and bags seem to form of just drooping flesh. At
I,
just oh, go ahead.
I haven't offended, have I? I mean, poof.
No,
Like,
you are not the one at fault here. You have brought bad memories back to me, but I do not hold
okay.
ill will on you for this.
Oh, we can talk about something else if you'd like. I mean, do you have a sports league here of some sort, or I've heard bowling's fun.
You know, that's actually not a bad idea. We haven't had many come who are enthusiastic about sports, but perhaps we shall fix that. I was always fond of the Greeks. They had quite interesting sports. Perhaps we shall consider that.
Always good to bring people together with that kind of stuff.
Yes, and we do love bringing people together. At which point,
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's a good joke. I like that.
At which-
Clever. That's clever.
at which point I think you hear a knocking at the door. There is a moment, and Mark sort of tries to settle himself. His face sort of tightens up again a bit. His eyes push back out, but the bag's sagging flesh remain. His cheeks sort of begin to melt over themselves, filling out a bit more. And then he goes, "Yes, come enter." And opening the door is this dark-skinned woman in a slightly, what seems like purposefully slightly disheveled, button down with a tie pulled loosely, and behind her, the rest of your field team.
Ah,
And
Captain Kennedy,
where
it's so
do
good to
guys-
see you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised you're all alive without me, but it's good. Well done.
Can I immediately ask for some sort of insight check from Kennedy to Liam upon seeing each other?
is there anything for Liam to be inciting, Captain Kennedy?
No, there's something that Kennedy needs to insight on Liam at the moment.
Would Captain Kennedy be looking for anything specifically from Liam?
I think I think it would almost be like trying to gauge how much trouble he thinks they're in, based on how Liam's holding himself as he comes through the door. He's trying to get a gauge of, oh, he looks like he's killed some people, or oh, actually, he's only got one gun in his hand. That kind of assessing the situation that way.
Let's do a psychology charisma. I think that makes sense here.
Psychology.
Yeah.
Let's do that. That sounds like a great idea.
And based on that number, the I will let you share with Captain Kennedy.
Thank God for that.
Whatever you think is necessary or
Here we go.
works based on that roll.
Yes. Well, that'll be a 2.
Liam's killed everyone.
Just the
Everyone's
second,
just
dead.
like,
Yeah.
oh,
even through the mask, you can see the bulging vein.
Oh,
And so she enters the room and motions for the group of you to enter. And as she approaches, Mark, the big titanic flesh being that the group of you are seeing, she puts a hand onto their arm, and you can see her fingers sort of like melt into not that her hand is melting, rather, but fall into the flesh of the arm. And it sort of envelops it up to the wrist for a moment. And he nods at her, and she withdraws her.
Zach is watching that like a hawk and making mental notes of all of this.
And as you are watching this, the eyes of this slightly stretched out and refilled in face look over at you and then over at the rest of your team and go, "Well, welcome, the Foundation and the GOC."
Hi.
Oh, this is Mark, by the way. He's he's a good guy. He's been looking after me.
Oh,
Oh,
you,
hi,
you're
Mark.
Mark.
Yeah.
We
Liam
heard
is
about
at-
you.
Liam is at the door still. Upon seeing the visage of Mark vehemently standing in the middle of this room, and is stiff as a board.
Jackson's frantically making kind of peace signs like, no, 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 no.
Calm down, boy. Calm down. Calm down.
It is nice to see you with these eyes of mine. Welcome to Utopia.
Thank you for your hospitality. It was quite graciously extended.
As we speak, rooms are being prepared for you, and I will be happy to offer meals if you are hungry. Your friend Jackson here can attest, I hope, to the enjoyability of the foods that we provide.
It's good stuff. It really is.
And as you will notice, he has not grown any new limbs.
No, that's
None.
reassuring.
None that you can see anyway. Oh, yeah.
And again, as he
Liam
laughs,
hates
you
all of
all
this.
see just all of him rippling and flapping.
So we've heard you are somewhat of a leader, spokesperson of these people, as much as I understand there can be.
I am something adjacent to that. I am more of a father than I am a leader, much like as you grow, your parent who once led you becomes less of the focal point of the decisions that you make in your life. And yet, still will always hold some level of faith in your personal hierarchy. Though that is also not quite the aptest descriptor, but it is difficult to give more than that. I know. Those of you who are faithful, believe in God or many, I suppose it is difficult not to, given your affiliations. There is a relationship between the Creator and those they have created, and though it is not that they lead, perhaps, but there is a shared understanding. At least I hope it is still this way in your new modern world.
So this city around you, you built it yourself?
Enough, yes.
Quite impressive.
I thank you. To be fair, though I have constructed it, it is birthed from the minds of many.
That explains it.
There are many familiar and unfamiliar buildings.
Yes, there are many eyes that have set their sights on the world beyond, and well, we aim to take the best and bring it here for comfort and security and pleasantness.
And you learned of this from visitors?
Yeah, well, they began as a visitor.
Of course.
Then they stay. Of their own free will,
Of course.
most of them.
No, gotta watch it. He's funny, funny guy.
He puts his arm over over Jackson again, and you all hear that wet squishing and can see ripples of what look like almost liquid, empty skin sort of rolling over Jackson's shoulders into almost sort of like a shawl, kind of, with a fat, sausage-fingered hand at the end of it, hanging.
Is there
As
any
it-
way for Liam to try to gauge what this thing is?
You could try an SCP lore occult check, but I will let you know that it's going to be very high DC.
Yeah, I figured.
But you are welcome to try if you'd like.
As
Oh,
the
that's
eye
a-
is
that's a
rolling
good
that,
start. It's a
I think Zach is looking at Jackson, and as much as he can, probably by blinking rapidly, is trying to convey blink twice if you're in danger.
Jackson's just kind of looking at him, just like, do you need me to have a look at? Have you got like an infection going on there, an eye infection? Or...
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, just you got a
Oh,
twitch thing going on
Yeah,
there.
just something in my eye. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, I can have a look. I mean, I'm.
he's a doctor.
He's a very good doctor.
That's
Oh,
a
yes.
21.5.
Okay. You can recall a docket that you were presented with in your faction of the GOC. That
Oh,
was
we're talking about the subsection that I'm
Correct.
part of?
Yeah.
Okay.
In it were a number of documents that break down things to be aware of. One of which is in the way that certain skips will refer to things as a way of determining if they fall under the purview of what it is that your specific subsection dealt with. A lot of the markers are there. There
Oh.
are a lot of things in how they present and how they speak and what you've already heard that suggests that they may fall into that category.
Okay.
And after a moment, Mark pulls his hand off of Jackson, and you can see, if you've ever used like the silly putty on a newspaper, there are little impressions from Jackson's just like shoulder in his arm for a moment before the flesh sort of falls back out into its sort of sag.
Cool question, Lion. Does it look like he was absorbing anything from Jackson, kind of like he was with Caroline?
Why don't you roll me a perception awareness and we'll find out. You could
Alright.
alternatively roll me there's a medicine check, an anatomy first aid int. I will let you do that as well if you'd prefer.
Couple of layers of skin. He won't miss them.
When this roll is happening, Zura will actually say to Mr. Kennedy, just be like, Oh, yes, they are actually looking for a doctor here to help with the infection. And I kind of like gestured my leg a little bit, which apparently you did a very good job with.
Oh, well, I'm glad that glad they said it's okay.
Yeah, me too. We couldn't really get the details on this, the specifics of the infection or what it is, but seems like it's a pretty
Yeah.
big deal. And I kind of look to Mark. Like, it's still uncomfortable to look at Mark, but
When you look at him, he smiles. And it is this absolutely grotesque look. There are shifted, wrong angled teeth that jut out from every direction and still somehow seem to fit perfectly together. And it is far too wide, and his cheeks almost raise up to the back, where you now notice this just flesh bundled like a ponytail pulled back taut.
I'm Zura, by the way. It's a pleasure to meet you, Mark.
Yes, very nice to meet you as well. Dr. Ryan, you had a roll.
Yep, 14.7.
Right, and which one did you decide to roll?
Awareness.
Okay, so it doesn't look like he was taking anything from there was a distinct difference in the way that these were done, where sort of it sunk in for Caroline versus here, where it just sort of settled over.
Yeah, we were just talking about the fact that that thing on the beach had some similarities with other stuff we've seen before.
You have seen it. His touch. You know him?
Him who?
My brother.
Sorry, what did you say?
My brother.
Oh.
I went full Hulk Hogan there for a second. There are many different names by which he is known, but the one that perhaps the most would know him by, Yaldabaoth.
Is this perhaps, and I say this to Hart more than anything else, I say, is this person perhaps the one we met on the beach? You think? The one that insisted on being you?
No, that was me. Well, one of
That was
mine.
you!
One of mine. Not me. Well, it began as me, but tried very hard to, well, find himself, which I will deeply apologize to you for, Mr. Hart. He meant well. They are overzealous when they are first born into this world.
I understand.
We're talking more about the. You remember that that guy on the throne? You know, the one that looked like a lion. I think that's who we were talking about here.
Is that who we're talking about here? Well, it seems that yourself and many of the other residents of Utopia here have a fairly well understanding of the Foundation and turning towards Liam's direction, other paranaturally involved organizations. We interact with a lot of different people, places, and things.
He is the usurper. The great liar. Now he demands more. He aims for something wrong. He edges me away from my children.
What was that?
He edges me away from my children.
Is this lion gentleman the one that causes the infections?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, he is a monster, a usurper.
You said you don't have many medical people here. Do you have anybody doing any research on these infections?
Oh, I know what they are. I have no need for research. He and I were forged together.
I mean, I know we've only just met, but I would love to find out more about what it is and how best to combat it.
Yeah.
Well, as Caroline pointed out earlier, as far as I understand, we are not here to take any sort of sides. We are here to understand more about yourself, them, if you can tell us your side of the story for that. But we're at this moment not looking to involve ourselves in any family disputes.
Of course, the Foundation refuses to have any role beyond what it dictates to be the natural order. I understand, and you will, I hope, forgive my vitriol. It is not directed at you. And Agent Hart, I would like you to roll me a fate. Roll.
Oh boy. Cool. 1d8. 3.
And then he stopped. And he looks at
I gave him the same look I gave the other guy.
you. See the protrusion that is his nose. Bro, nostrils are widening. And then a deep and his eyes tighten. And then his eyes leave you and look over the rest. Your field agent team. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
No.
Thank you so much for being here and being a part of this, my amazing cast. Thank you to the incredible chat for showing up, hanging out, and being a part of this. We really, really hope that you've enjoyed this episode of A Crumbling Foundation. Before I get into all of my end
doing anything
stuff,
with the audio. Tech was I
Oh, no.
I thought there was
before I get into all of my boring end stuff, first, why don't we take a moment and go around the table so everyone can remind you of how amazing they are, where you can find them, and what they're up to. And yeah, we're going to start with Zoe.
Hey y'all, I'm Zoe Trooper. I played Zura Von Brandt tonight on our SCP at Crumbling Foundation. You can find me here on Tales from the Table Studios. You can find me at Hall Haven Studios. You can find me at Component Pegast. So like I'm all over the place. It's so fun to play in this game line. Wonderful time tonight. And that's it from me. Let's pass it along.
The Eye.
I am the eye. playing Lieutenant Liam MacCern, who has just found new targets for his wrath and rage. And I will pass it on to Tal.
Oh, cool. It's all going to be fine. I'm Tal. You can find me over on the social medias under the Gamers Rest. Yeah, check out my latest YouTube video, which is my playthrough of House of Ashes, which goes live at some point this morning. And today I have been Dr. Jackson Kennedy, who has made a new friend.
Jack.
Yes, hello, that is me. I am Jack. I have been and will continue to be the one and only and best of the only one, Hevard Hart. Let's see, what am I up to? You can find me on my own channel, twitch.tv/RPGs Uncovered, and YouTube under the same name. I'm all over social medias under that name as well. I run a series dedicated to showing just how quick and easy it can be to get into a new TTRPG. So if you're looking for a new game to try out, and you want to see some fun new shows, want to learn a new game, want to see what's coming up down the pipeline from other indie creators, I do creator interviews every Wednesday. So we got that going on this Wednesday at 10 p.m. EST. We're going to be talking about Luna Uni, which is a really fun looking sort of educational tool TTRPG for classrooms to help teach various subjects in a really fun way. And we have the season finale for Cyber Rats, Corpo Rat Chills coming up this Saturday at 4:30 p.m. EST. It's gonna be a blast. Probably literally, there's many different blasts that I'm sure will be happening. So come stop by. We have a fun show, great cast, really fun chat while it's going. So come say hi. Let me pass it up to JD.
Hey, I'm JD. Tonight I have been Dr. Zachary Ryan, who is regretting his life and his choices, but is also fascinated by what he is finding on this island, probably more so than he should be. It's fine. Everything's fine. It's great. Speaking of cyber rats, I will be in that finale, so I'm not stressed at all. You're stressed. It's fine. Everything's going to be fine. Nobody's going to die. I'm not going to cry on stream. It's going to be great. So yes, you will find me with Cyber Rats for our finale this coming weekend. You can also find me with Live from the Apocalypse in Class Reunion and Academy H. Academy H just dropped our latest podcast, so you should check that out. And we will be recording our next one this coming Sunday. So yeah, I think that is it for now. You can sometimes find me with The Lost Caravan in Lancer and Nova currently, as well as an occasional one-shot. And I'm going to pass it over to you, Lion. Thank you for the horror.
I do my best. And don't worry, if no one ends up dying in Cyber Rats, we can always make someone die here. It's fine. Perfect. I'm Lion. I'm the head for Tales from the Table Studios. You can find me here pretty much all the time. And when I'm not here, I'm still just behind the camera doing all of the production stuff. You can keep up to date with me and the studio game shows and more over on Twitter at the Lion Knight 42, at least for now. Before we go, a couple things I want to go over. First, foremost, and most excitedly, end of the month, March 24th through the 26th, we're going to be running the Days of Tales 2. 36 hours across 3 days of games, giveaways, panels, and more. We've got some awesome stuff lined up. We're going to be talking about some of that this week, both on stream and over on our Twitter and on our Discord. We're going to have a bunch of stuff. We're going to be talking about giveaways. We've got some announcements tomorrow. We're going to be having our schedule out soon, which is really, really hype. We've got some incredible people involved, and I can't wait to share that with y'all. We're going to be raising money for the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI. Great organization that does some phenomenal work with outreach, support, educational programs, and more across the United States. So come by for that, hang out, donate, tell people about it. There are so many ways you can help out and be involved. We're really looking forward to it. You'll see some of these amazing faces there as well, which is super hype. Next, if you've enjoyed what you've seen here and you want to talk to us about the game, or you want to ask us about stuff, or you just want to be more involved with a community of great, amazing people, come to our Discord. The link should be down below in our About section. Join up, say hi, hang out, talk about stuff. We do all of our announcements there as well. We also do casting from there, and we have some community games running right now. I know there's an Emberwind or Dishonored game that just got posted up for one of our community games. So if you're interested in trying that out, come check that out. It's an amazing GM's going to be running it. Can't sing enough praises about Andrew. Yeah, and if you just want to hang out and talk to some amazing people, we are super lucky to have some incredible people, including all these people there. If you'd like to support us in any way, there are a couple ways to do it. Obviously, hanging out in chat is a big one. Following us is amazing. You can also subscribe. Subscriptions help let us know what it is that you're enjoying and tell us what to make more of, as well as enabling us to do so. If you want to support us without giving any of your money to Amazon, because they got to take their cut, we also have a Ko-Fi. You can go check out our Ko-Fi, also linked down below. We have a bunch of membership tiers that offer some really cool stuff, including naming rights for NPCs and locations across most of our games. Behind the scenes shows. We film one for every show that we run every month. We have one for each one where we sit down with the cast and talk about what's been going on, how they've been feeling, what they're looking forward to, and more. They've been really fun to do, and I hope that you get a chance to check them out and enjoy them. All the way up to at our highest tier, we have a raffle once a month where we will design a custom character. If it's in the system, we know great. If it's not, we'll learn it. We'll make it happen. It comes with a written out backstory, important NPCs, and what I think is most exciting, custom art for you from our in-house artist, Miss Moon, who we love very, very much, who does some really great stuff. So if you're interested in any of that, you can go check it out on our Ko-Fi. We also have free stuff. We've had some maps. We have One Night at Ollie's, which is a Five Nights at Freddy's themed Kids on Bikes module. We have updates on the shows that we're running, things that we're working on, stuff in the process. We're going to have a Days of Tales update on there very soon as well, talking about some of the process that goes into putting the event together and more. There's also something else that I'm not going to talk about yet, but we'll be talking about after Days of Tales that I'm really excited about, so stick around for that. With that, I think I've gone over everything that I need to go over. So, yep, I've gone over everything I need to go over. So thank you so much to everyone for hanging out tonight. We really appreciate you being here. We hope you've enjoyed. Take care of yourselves. Love yourselves. Eat enough. Drink enough. Take some time to do the things you need to do for you. Always remember to tell you.